Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next few hours, along with Mike.
Hello.
Hello. And Nick is here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Spence will probably jump in. I mean, I'm sure he's all worn out from the festivities this weekend. His daughter got married Friday.
That's good.
Wait a minute. If it was Friday, he's had a day. Where is he?
Hey, think a week earlier. Where were you? Actually, you
Ours
were
was
here,
on
yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. And you were here.
So
No, well, he'll show up.
Mike, no excuses for you. You have a different set of standards.
that's true.
I just wanted to make sure that you knew that.
Our number, 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is being brought to you by Adamus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals.
Like me.
And that's what we are, right?
That's what I am, actually.
What?
I'm a professional.
Professional what?
A professional expert in
At
everything.
what?
Everything, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to remember to do it a lot. Those of you who are watching us and you did not log into the chat because maybe you don't know what to do, just out there on the to the right of the video, there's a little field that says enter your nick or your username. Just put whatever you want, but join the chat.
Mm-hmm.
There's
We're
a
having
lot
fun.
that you're missing there. What'd you say, Nick? I'm sorry.
No, I said, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wednesday, we had the Lessons of Vietnam show.
Okay.
And it was really a good show, an important show. We had the president of the American Vietnam Vets,
Cool.
and there was nobody in the chat. Yet it was showing numbers that people are coming to the page. So I told Bill, I said, announce it. Just while John was talking, I told Bill, I said, look, tell people to log in. And he did what I just did. People just log in, put whatever you want. Wouldn't you know that within 30 seconds, there were about 15 people there?
It's crazy. People are...
I have
People
no idea. I mean,
Yes, I don't know.
I don't know why people are not doing it. I forgot to talk with Ron about seeing if we can force people into the chat, but I don't feel like
Why are you going to force
should do-
people into the chat?
you do.
I'm not going to pay them to join the chat.
You're going to have to
No,
go get
you automatically log them
No,
in.
I know.
They don't
but,
want to chat.
But
They don't
some
have to chat.
people don't want to, and I understand that, and I respect that. But this is for the benefit of those that don't know it.
Right. The chat is only for the really smart people.
Yeah.
Like me. Right, Mike?
Only smart people
Right.
can see it. Actually, you know.
Yeah.
Only
Like-
smart people seeing that field.
Again,
It's
like
like the emperor's clothes. Yeah, and you, Tim.
So what's going on?
There's really not much going on except last night I thought we're not going to have a show today.
Really? You
Uh,
thought you just had enough?
I come and I always reboot the computer before a show. So I said, I'm going to do it tonight. So I came in and I said, oh, there's a Windows update. Okay, yeah, go ahead and do it. I have all night if there's a problem. So I did the updates, rebooted. When it came back, the desktop was all screwed up. It lost all the order of the icons. And I said, okay, well, no big deal. Let me rearrange it. But I'm looking, and there's no VidBlaster, and there's no Wirecast. Saying, what's going on? So, why do I hear an echo?
I don't.
Must be Nick, because I hear it too.
Um,
I-
so I went into Windows Explorer and looked at the desktop of the user, and sure enough, VidBlaster and Wirecast are there. I said, well, maybe they got erased. So I dragged VidBlaster to the desktop. It says, the file that's on the desktop and this one are the same. I'm saying, well, what's going on? It's not there. So I started moving. Sometimes you'll get an icon hiding behind another icon. So I started moving them all. It's not there. And I said, is it on the other monitor? So I moved the mouse over, but I'm not seeing it. So I looked a little closer at the monitor, and the monitor was off. And I said, what happened here? So I went down there on the computer and plugged and unplugged to see if something got loose. And in the process, actually, the main monitor went out and wouldn't come back. So I powered it down by pressing the power button. And when it came back, of course, it went to safe mode. And in safe mode, when it came up, the VidBlaster and Wirecast were there. So I did a check disk and rebooted. And there it is, desktop in the way that I'm used to seeing it, and everything else was okay. It was really strange. So but it took about 20, 30 minutes to get everything back to the way it was. And during that time, I said, uh-oh, this is going to be a problem. But it was okay.
Well, that's good.
So that's what was going on yesterday.
What time
Yeah.
was this at?
This was about 9 o'clock.
Oh boy,
I know.
that would have been a late night for you.
Yep, it would have. I would have bothered you this morning because I would have put another machine there. And this morning I would wait until I see you and say, come on, let's quick. In the middle of the week, this is another Uverse thing. So Uverse really, again, proved that one hand doesn't know about the other. I got the bill, and they're charging me for IPs. So I called and I said, I see that you're charging me for IPs. He said, yeah, that's $15. I said, no, I was told no charge for IPs. I said, no, sir, this is $15. I said, well, I'll tell you what, you send your guy over here and undo what you did and take the service out. Thank you. Oh, wait,
No.
So let me connect you to retention. I said, okay. So she connected me to retention, and I'm talking to the guy. He said, yeah, I know how you feel. This is happening a lot. Let me see what I can do. So he went and came back. He said, well, I can't take the charge out because it won't let me take it out. It's on our accounting. But what I can do is I can give you credit for your like $100 credit, and that will cover 6 months. So we'll meet you halfway. I said, why can't you give me just a few IPs so you don't have to charge me $15? No, this is the package that we have. I said, well, go back to your computer and see if there's anything else that you can do, because I don't think so. So he went and came back and he said, Mr. Nissan, I'm sorry. This is the only thing we can do is I have at my disposal to give you $100 credit. So I said, well, let me think about it. So, I thought about it and called him back and I said, you know what, go ahead. It's fine. It's going to cost me $7 a month. It's fine.
Well, for the first year.
Well, everything is for the first year. The amount and everything is first year. The second year it's going to be more, unless you.
They give you a year to play with it.
The what? Yeah.
It gives you a year to play with it and find out if it's useful and to see if they do the upgrade within that period of time.
Right. So that was fine. Then, it's already the second week, and I'm realizing I'm not getting any payments, any checks in the mail.
I have that same problem.
Well, but that is unusual, very unusual. It never happens. So then I remember Hannah, when she did the billing, she actually got up and came and sat with me in the living room and said, the email is going real slow. I've never seen it going that slow. Actually, what started it is one of my customers wanted a copy of her invoice. So I went into accounting and sent it. Half an hour later, she sends an email. She said, did you send it to me? I said, yeah. She said, well, I didn't get it. I went and looked in the mail log. It's not there. So that's when I started thinking about this. Turns out, none of the invoices went out because Uverse is blocking port 25.
Shocker.
And the ISP accounting program is using port 25, and there's no way to change it.
Not even if you put a :26 at the end of the mail server name?
I tried. It didn't work. I tried different ways, and it didn't work. So I switched that machine to Time Warner and went ahead one at a time, the people that are getting it through email, and emailed them all. Then I started looking online for Uverse port 25. To make a long story short, it seems like when you have a static IP, they said, oh, if you want port 25 unblocked, you have to buy the static IP from them. So I need to call tomorrow and get port 25 unblocked.
And you're going to have to pay for that?
No. That's if you see, normally you don't have static IPs when you are residential.
Okay.
But if you want, and they block 25 for residential, they don't block it for businesses. They block it for residential.
Okay.
If you want to unblock it for residential, you have to pay the $15 for static IPs, and then you can ask them to unblock it.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I tried yesterday and I switched it back, and because it was working from my machine. I was sending everybody emails, but then I looked and it was 587. So I switched it to 25, and sure enough, it wouldn't go through. Switched it back to 587, and it went through. So I said, okay, at least I know what it is and can do that. So you learn these things. But I still don't understand the purpose of blocking.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Which SMTP server are you using?
My own.
That means that UVerse blocks
Yeah.
port 25 on your service, period. You can't access anyone's external server through
That
port 25.
Well, this is how blocking port 25, that's what it's supposed to do. Like when you go to a hotel and you want to use your own SMTP server that you use at home and they let you do it, if the hotel blocks port 25, you cannot send email. Then you have to ask the hotel what is their SMTP server. I mean, yeah, and do it or change the port number. So really, I don't see the purpose of doing this. It doesn't stop spam.
No, they know it. They know to use alternate ports.
Everybody knows how to use it. So what good is it to do it?
No, everyone doesn't, but the ones who matter know.
Well,
I mean, Nick knows.
Hey, Mike, I'm an expert. I'm sorry.
He's
I
expert
mean,
on port blocking.
if you set up your smartphone within the last few years, it's automatically on 587 instead of 25.
Well, it's getting harder. This is kind of an interesting thing that I had happen this week, in that there's a program that many trademark lawyers use called Feathers that actually pings the Patent and Trademark Office website to do updates on a trademark application that's pending. And a lot of law firms depend on it to make sure that they don't overlook something or make a mistake in prosecuting a trademark application for a client. The program was written about 6, 7, 8 years ago and distributed for free by a law firm. For one reason or another, the guy who paid for the development out of his pocket, he claims he spent tens of thousands of dollars on it. Maybe he did. If he did, he screwed up. But he's unwilling to modify the program or to let anyone else modify the program. There are a couple of issues with the program. It was written for Windows 2000 XP, and as a result, the program will not work if it's installed on Windows 7 because it tries to install in the program files folder, program files 86 folder, which has UAC control on it. You have to install it in another folder. All that being said, it does not have SSL for its ability to send email notifications to the attorneys using the program. One thing that it does allow you to do, it defaults to port 25, but you can add the :26 or whatever port on the end of the SMTP server address that allows you to send through a different port. That's worked fine. The problem with that is that one by one, SMTP servers are doing away with non-SSL connections. About once a month, we have an email list, and I seem to be the only one who's taking time to help people with anything with regard to the program. About once a month, my program has stopped working. I've done a little research. It looks like now my ISP is blocking either port 25, switch to a new port, or they're requiring SSL. How do I do SSL? Therefore, this week I put an offer to the group that if anyone wanted access to an SMTP server that does not require SSL and allows port 25 or 26, if they would let me know, I would set up one and manage it only for the specific purpose of using this program, that the traffic would be monitored, it would be highly monitored, probably have everyone blacklisted except the people who pay for it, and it would be $20 a year. And for people to let me know if they want to do it. So far, I've had 4 people sign up, and I have a couple of other people who may be interested. Cool. So we'll have to see how that goes.
That's good. It's good that you have the knowledge to help these people that obviously don't.
I don't know why I bother sometimes. Well, every time I need something, I have to pay through the nose or pull teeth.
Because you're a kind man, Mike.
That's why we are here.
Oh, okay.
Hello,
Mike's
Steve.
a dentist. Steve, you're muted in the Hangout.
Steve, you're muted in the Hangout. If you look up, there you go. We still don't hear you.
He'll figure it out.
Just break in when you figure it out. Yeah, that's why we're here, Mike. We go through these things and we bring it to our listeners' attention.
Yeah. Part of part of the issue though is a lot of the people who saw that post don't realize that if they're not having a problem now, they're going to have a problem
I
because
know.
they'll set it up to use their home ISPs, things like that.
Mm-hmm. There are ways around it.
Like what?
When you do it, you can use a different server, or you can always resort to the server that they want you to use.
Who?
Whoever is blocking or whoever is causing the problem.
The problem is the program doesn't have SSL.
I understand. So if you don't have SSL, like Uverse requires SSL, for instance.
Right. You can't use their SMTP server with this program. It's not an option.
Right. So you would use a different one, a different server
Correct.
that does
And-
not allow.
And where would that be? Because what I did to demonstrate to this guy that I was working with this week, what I did to demonstrate
There.
that this was the problem is I set up a temporary account on one of my servers for him, which allows port 25 with no SSL.
Right.
And he then, once he put that information in, the program tried to send 150 emails that had been backed up
Waiting.
in the
Yeah.
program.
Right.
Unfortunately, my server has a 75 email per hour limit on it. The other 75 it tried to send bounced on him, which there was no way to resend them.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty unhappy about that. And but then he went back and noticed that every one of the bounced messages had the actual message content in it that he would have received if it had sent to him,
Right.
meaning that he had all the information he needed.
We don't require SSL. We recommend SSL. Steve, by the way, you're muted.
You should be able to hear me now.
There
We
you
can
are.
now.
Sorry, I'm on the other computer. I'm having problems with
That's okay.
the big flashy super duper pooper scooper computer, and this one I haven't used Hangouts on before, so nightmare. But I'm here now. Sorry for the delay.
It sounds great.
Well, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
So, Mike, to go back to it, I mean, we don't require SSL, but we recommend that people would use it because there are a lot of people that don't have the ability to do it. You could have called me and I would have fixed it for you.
Well, look, do you want these guys at $20 a year?
No. I'm just saying for you to demonstrate.
But I've got my own server. Would you like to
Okay.
have these guys at $20 a year?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, because I don't want them.
No. Anybody that thinks that they can do something for $20 a year, they are welcome to it and they should do it.
$20 a year times 1,000 customers is not nothing to sneeze at.
Well, when you have to give support to 1,000 customers, it's a lot. It's a lot of sneezing.
Yeah, I hate all these darn customers.
Mhm.
Pain in the butt.
See there. Jerry Lewis says that some hosts offer email marketing packages for $10. That's a different word for spam.
Not really. There's some legitimate email list. I'm on part of one that sends to 3,000 lawyers every time somebody makes a post.
That is just a listserv, a mailing list, which we do also. Your provider should be able to allow you to use any amount of emails if it is legit.
And they do. The one that I have does.
Right. So that's the thing. You don't need to go to those services that do it, because those services, just like you said, they need a lot of customers, because what is $10? So they need
But
a lot of customers.
yeah,
And
but they're the one-and-ones and the Blue Hosts and all these
yeah,
guys. Sometimes they're responsive and sometimes they don't bother.
well, um, so Jerry Lee Lewis says, not necessarily spam, and he has a shoe store that has a 700 user email list. We have customers that have thousands,
Wow.
and they don't want to tie their uh, Outlook or whatever to do a group. We have a mechanism that will take the email addresses and put it in there and actually mail it out. Like I think it's a message a second. So it doesn't,
Yeah.
it does. But when a new customer is uh, asking for something like that, we would have a discussion and I make sure that they did not buy a list somewhere, and this is list that actually people went and enter. And I tell them, if I get complained, because you can get blacklisted in a heartbeat.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah. And I tell them that if somebody will complain, then I'm going to take money out of their account and cancel the account. At this
But
point,
that's the
some
that's
people,
the point I was going to make is that even the good companies that want to be responsive to their customers and provide them what they need, if they allow them to set up an email list using Mailman or some other program,
right?
they still, with everything being totally honest, ethical, legitimate, justified,
Mm-hmm.
if they start a new email list with 5,000 people on it, a certain number of people who get that email are going to say, where's this spam coming from? They're going to flag it as spam in Gmail and Yahoo and Hotmail and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. And even if they opted in, a certain number of these idiots will still mark things as spam. And if enough of that happens, then your mail server gets blacklisted, meaning that your other customers can't send to certain people as well.
That's correct. Um,
Because very few people operate their own mail server with nothing on it but their mail.
there are
No one.
ways to work with the providers like Time Warner and Google and AOL that they let you know when somebody marks it as spam. They don't tell you who it is,
Mm-hmm.
which I see. This is the stupidest thing. I mean, you're sending me an email. I can't remember what they call it. It's some kind of a loop back. You're
Mhm.
sending me an email telling me that this is spam, that person did not request it. Well, just tell me who it is so I would go ahead and remove them. Or I would tell the customer, look, this person does not want it.
Yeah, that's a privacy thing, though.
Well, privacy or not privacy, this is where I agree with Mike on the wording. Some of these stupid people, and I'm sure Gruber called them that too, they opt in, but they never opt out.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, why are you sending me this? Well, because you asked for it. Now, some of these people really are so non-technical that it is very possible that they don't know how to. And this is why, well, tell me who you are and I'll take you out. I will remove you.
Yeah.
But that's not
We
how
know
it works.
They're dangerous. Jerry Lee Lewis is asking, he said he needs a auto remove on every email sent. He wants to know how you do that or whether you offer it.
There is no auto remove.
Is there an opt-out link in every email that goes out through your email list?
That's for email list.
Yes.
Every email list, Mailman, Majordomo, all these do have at the bottom a few links, and one of them is to opt out, to unsubscribe.
Immediately.
Yeah, what I would do in our program is it's up to you. You are going to get the bounces. And I expect you to send me emails that were bounced. And I will remove them from the list, or you will compile another list and send it to me. Now, ideally, if this is really an opt-in list and legitimate list that people actually opted in, there shouldn't be many of these. But if you're going to send a list and a day or two later you're sending me another list that have 2,000 people less on it, you are no longer my customer, because at that point you obviously bought a list somewhere.
Well, what I do and I'm on many email lists that I signed up for, but from time to time, there are a lot of really stupid people. Steve, no offense intended, but for some reason, most of them are in the UK. They cannot remember their own email addresses, and they tend to sign up for things with my email address, my couple of my Gmail addresses. I don't know why they're in the UK. But what happens is that if I see that I get a legitimate email, for example, someone who has a doctor's appointment coming up, or they have a confirmation for an airline ticket, or whatever it is, something that's obviously legitimate, and it's information they probably need, then what I will try to do is I will reply to the email and say, you have an incorrect email address, please remove this one from your database. If it's from a company or government that has a bogus return email address, they want me to log into their site to manage my email preferences, mark it as spam, and it's over. They think they're slick by sending out these no reply email addresses, and they get marked as spam, and it goes away.
I've been having fun with some email in the last week or two. Remember, I used to run a website a long time ago, and that all went by the by. Anyway, I sold the website domain, and the person that now owns the domain is doing something similar to what I was doing, only he keeps getting these infringement notices, copyright infringement notices. And I got a couple through, and the website's just gone back live again, the website that I sold. It was dormant for ages, but they're actually doing something now which could be deemed to be copyright infringement in some way or shape or form. So I've started to get at my email address, which was the old registrant email address, lots of copyright infringement takedown notices, which is driving me nuts, because I've replied to them saying that I don't own the domain name. I have nothing to do with the person that owns the domain name.
Yeah, they believe that one.
And I've replied a couple of times to this one particular outfit that keeps sending them. And I thought, well, that's enough. I'm not going to reply to every flaming email that you're sending me. Then they started sending 10 and then 12. I looked in there the other day, 69 they sent through. I've just put the whole lot in spam now. I've replied to you and told you I don't run it. Check the registrant's email address appropriately, because where you're looking is obviously an old listing. And it's just driving me nuts. And now I'm starting to get it from other people as well. So I've just done the same thing, replied to them saying it's nothing to do with me. I have no contact or information about them. Find out who the correct registrant is and stop bothering me. So, yeah. Sometimes you need to put things in spam that aren't necessarily spam, but they are spam to you.
Yeah, you can only help people as much as they are willing to let you help them.
Yep, and if they're not prepared to read your replies or believe your replies, then yeah, then they get put in spam and you're not bothered with it anymore.
No. Let's see what else is happening.
Well, I'm a video expert now.
Really?
Yes.
Would you like to
I'll
elaborate?
bet you are.
I hate video.
Okay.
Well, one thing I've learned is that if you don't have the right tools, it's hard to accomplish what you want to do, as long as you know what you want to do. Spence and I was hoping he probably ought to wait to see if he shows up. We can talk about it then. But he and I are working with my Canon HFG 30 video camera to know which format to use and so forth. And the format that he ultimately decided we should use is a ADVHC with 26 megabits and LPCM audio. Everything's working fine, except that LPCM audio is not really understood by a lot of people, a lot of software. So that's what I'm struggling with. I'm able to finally get things going with using Vegas Pro Studio, Vegas Studio 8, whatever it is, suite, as the cheap program, but I have version 11. It doesn't have all of the ability to choose. For example, I'm right now outputting a 26 megabit per second MP4 as the master from which I'm going to use Handbrake to create other solutions. But the 1080 60p 26 megabit per second MP4 file is going to have 128K audio, which is insane. It ought to have, I would like to output LPCM audio if it did that so that there was no degradation. Then that would be awesome. But I'm learning some other tricks. For example, I'm also learning that I can, with LPC, I will wait for Spence to get here if he shows up. If not, we can kind of kick this around. But I'm learning the inner workings of some of this stuff. What's obvious to me is I'm going to have to get better software because I want to do things that are apparently not very conventional.
Let's see, who just called in?
It's Gene, Edna.
You what?
It's Gene.
It's
Yeah.
Gene.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question about, you were talking about blocked emails, and I was wondering about something myself on that.
Okay.
With what we have in Delta Force, it does a great job in putting in the quarantine emails that it believes are spam. And what happens to me occasionally, and especially during election time, I get an awful lot of that, and it really gets filled up. The quarantine gets filled up, a whole bunch of stuff. What I was wondering is this: without me having to let them through, in other words, retrain them, and then bring them into Windows Live Mail, and then mark them as junk, and then go block the senders, is there a way they can be blocked before you even put them in spam?
The what?
Block them before they even get into the spam filter, into your quarantine spam filter.
Well, I have a few filters ahead of that would do it on global. But is that what you're asking?
Yeah, because the only way I know of right now is if I really want to put somebody on or a domain on my block senders list, I've got to let it through your filter, your spam filter, and mark it and retrain it. It's good. And then when I get it, I go to Windows Live Mail, and then I mark it as junk, and then put it in and then mark it as block sender, and I can get it out that way. But I would like to get it out. I'm not even have it come into your spam. In other words, be recognized as spam before it gets put in the quarantine.
Right. Well, this was a lot more important back in the days of dial-up, because you never had unlimited, and you wanted to minimize the time that you stay online. If you had to download 200 messages, emails, and only 2 of them were good, you wasted a lot of time. Today, it's really, it's zip, so it's not important. But if you want, you can still do it by just sending me an email address, and I would block it.
Okay. Yeah, I would do that in groups. I wouldn't just send you one at a time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
okay,
fine.
That's fine.
You what?
I said that's good. That's what I wanted to know.
Okay. And
But be aware, though, Gene, that simply blocking them is not very effective for illegitimate email, because they send with a new domain name every time they send an email, new email address. The only time blocking is effective is in a circumstance like I said. If Virgin Mobile continues to send me someone else's bill, I don't want them to send me the bill. They send from the same email address each time. That would be a perfect one to block at the server. Then they would get a bounce and realize that they've got a wrong email address.
Yeah, okay, Mike, I understand. That's good. That's good info. Thank you.
The spam filters for Gmail and others, they work amazingly well. As much as I do not like Google, the spam filters, the spam filters by Google are made by Postini. I'm assuming Google's bought them by now. And They work amazingly well. And if you say, well, I don't want to use Google for my email, I don't like it, you can use Outlook or Outlook Express or Windows Live Mail and access Gmail through a POP account. If you send an email to me I have an email address at pobox.com. I've had it since 1999. If you send an email to my pobox.com email address, all that is an alias. It then sends it to wherever I tell it to send. Presently, when you send an email to that address, it then is sent to 3 different Gmail accounts. One that I never open, one that is putting the email on my phone, and one that I use to access from home. Whenever I access it from home using Outlook, it accesses the Gmail account via Popbox, downloads it from Gmail, and then archives everything. Those accounts have every email I've received in them still since 2008.
The thing is that most spam filters work just as good as Postini as long as they don't lose email. It's either you get all the spams on the other side that you have to go into a quote unquote quarantine area and go through them and see if any of them are spam, or they come into your inbox and then you clean them out. It all depends how things are configured by the ISP to allow more to go through or to really tighten it, and then you have to go to your mailbox and see what's there. But they're also doing other stuff that stops known spammers from coming in, which is what we do at Delta Force. I mean, it's like 3-4 times a week to add spam servers that are known to be spam. This is what's nice about community, that they let you know, here's a server that serves spam, and you add it. And I need to do it more often, because right after you add them, the next day or two, spam is way down, and then it starts crawling up, and by that time you do the next round. But yeah, Gmail is really, really, I mean, Postini is great, but you can't buy it.
Yeah, you can.
Now, I tried.
If you have your own mail server, they used to sell it to you. I haven't
They
looked at it in
used
a
to
couple of
now,
years.
but now Google bought it
Well,
about
then that's
a year or
true.
two ago, and you cannot buy it.
I agree. Google does a really good job of clearing out the rubbish that you don't want to see. Occasionally, you get a blip and one does slip through, but 99 times out of 100, it catches it.
All right. Those of you in IT, Microsoft is ending support for the Windows Server 2003 operating system on July 14th, 2015, obviously. After this date, this product will no longer receive security patches that will protect you from viruses, spyware, and other malicious software. No assisted technical support from Microsoft, and no software and content updates. So if your organization is using Windows Server 2003, it's ending its life. People that use Windows Server that I know of, most of them are using 2008 for the last few years. So I wonder how serious that problem is.
Are you
Now,
upset that they're ending it?
the what?
Are you upset that they're ending it?
Oh, of course I am.
Well, it's costing me money
Why?
because we have a business server on 2003 in one of my little businesses
E.
that we're having to move over to 2000. I don't forget which one it is. 2012.
So why
That's
can't
no
you
fun.
why can't you stay?
Because the company is discontinuing support for the server. They're going to take it offline.
It will keep on working. It's just like
It
Windows
will,
XP.
I don't begrudge it. I mean, at some point, enough's enough. And if they're going to have to actively maintain the code base to keep it secure, then 11 years is long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
You know what, Mike? You're right.
I know I am. But I cannot figure out how to make Flight Radar 24 work. How do you search for a flight on flightradar24.com?
No clue.
Well,
It's
I
not-
need you to look.
It's not on the radar.
Flight Radar 24.
Flightradar24.com.
What's the flight you're looking for?
1737. United.
What is it? Say it again.
U.S. Airways 1737.
Oh, are they supposed to come back?
Yeah, well, I hope so. Where is enters flight number here?
At the top, in the left-hand side where it says map.
Yeah?
You type in a thing there.
Type in a thing. What kind of thing? Okay, flight. Oh, it just updated.
Duh.
Flight 1737. The app is dragging. It didn't have that.
Mine had it.
I'm going to try a different computer.
So I guess at this point, everybody that's in the chat and everybody that's listening here and they're over here know that they're stupid, right?
Excuse me?
Well,
I've always known that I'm stupid.
Mike, you know what I'm talking about.
Not really.
You have not followed that, how we are being called stupid by the administration, and that's how they passed Obamacare?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they call us stupid. They call the American public stupid.
And news is
That scientists at Johns Hopkins Medical School and the University of Nebraska have discovered an algae virus that makes us more stupid by infecting our brains. The researchers were conducting a completely unrelated study to match the DNA of chlorovirus known as ACTV1. ACTV1 is a virus that infects the green algae found in freshwater lakes and ponds. It had previously been thought to be non-infectious to humans, but the scientists found that it actually affects cognitive functions in the brain by shortening attention span and causing a decrease in spatial awareness. Spatial?
Spatial.
For the first time ever, the researchers proved that microorganisms have the ability to trigger delicate psychological change to the human body without launching a full-blown attack on the human immune system. So, a virus that makes you stupid.
Isn't that just great?
That explains everything. Now I know. At the time I thought, should I eat this algae or not? And now I realize I shouldn't have. Silly me.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve, you're so funny. How dare you?
You're so funny.
Which way did they go?
As you know, my wife works at the North Carolina General Assembly.
Yeah.
And her representative for whom she works lost his reelection.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which meant she's unemployed.
As of
Because you
January 1st.
20th or 10th or whatever the date is.
Yeah.
So she went through the process this week and then interviewed with several people, which was an interesting process in and of itself. And she was made an offer yesterday, which she accepted through a really, really good guy.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Yeah, the guy she worked with was a good guy, and this one's a good guy, and that's what you want out of life. So, Nick, did you figure out how to find that plane?
Yeah,
Tell me.
I just told you.
No, you didn't.
There's a search bar on the left-hand side of Flight
Look,
24.
I just clicked in it. It says flight, registration, or airport.
You type it. I typed in United Airlines.
It's not United.
Okay, what airline is it then?
U.S. Airways.
Oh, hold on.
And I want to take the advantage of the silence there. And again, ask people who are watching us, listening to us on the page to log into the chat to the right of the video where it says enter a nickname or enter your username. Just put a name there, whatever you want. You don't have to put your real name if you don't want to. You'll see a lot of people don't. It's nice to have your real name so we can address you by your name. But just sign in and see what you're missing. So did you find the plane?
Nope.
I did.
Tell me exactly what you typed in the search box and what you did after you typed it in.
Okay, I typed in caps,
Yeah.
AWE 1737.
And how in the hell would I was supposed to know that?
Well, that's the flight.
And then you hit enter or what?
It just popped up. I see the little plane highlighted.
There is no 1737 on mine.
I see it.
1737 AWE.
I've had this problem with Flight Radar 24 before. I wouldn't recommend using it.
All right, if I type in US 1737, is that the same one? Yeah.
So what did you type in?
US 1737, and it popped up.
Oh yeah, that works for me too.
It was today, the 16th.
It is.
Do you show the plane in flight?
No. I just see a little question mark.
Look out the window and see.
But now I just went on Flight Aware, and that shows it en route.
This one's not good.
No, but you got to remember this. This is using some of this ABDS, whatever it's called, like real-time tracking stuff. So, it just updated. Now it's in.
It still has no AWE 1737. It has to get through US 1737.
Yep. No, mine is updating now. I can see it's
Mike,
flying off the coast.
Dr. John in chat is saying try flightware.com/live.
Yeah, that's another one.
All right, so you just type in when I type in US 1737, it brings up a chart.
Yeah, and then you press the little arrow on the right-hand side of the flight that you want. There's like a little circle with a greater than symbol, I think.
For it estimated. Okay, so yeah, it did just update.
Yeah, now it's moving.
All
okay.
right.
So it was on the ground probably.
I guess so.
Because you're showing it still just above Hialeah.
No, mine's above North Bay.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
We're getting into winter where we need heat.
Tell me about it.
Oh,
Well, Nick is the weather expert. He knows about winter and heat.
It's
The
33
idea-
degrees here right now.
the idea of reusing waste server heat is not new.
AMD.
But German firm Cloud and Heat seems to have developed it further than most. For a flat installation fee, the company will install a rack of servers in your office with its own power and internet connection. Cloud and Heat then pays the bills and you get the heat. As well
I'll
as
do that.
heat customers, the firm wants cloud customers who buy a standard OpenStack based cloud compute and storage services on the web. The company guarantees the data is encrypted and held within Germany at any of its heat customers' premises. In principle, it's a way to build a data center with no real estate by turning its waste heat into asset. A similar deal is promised by French firm Carnot. But this is amazing. Instead of getting a colo somewhere to put servers, just say, okay, who wants heat? And let me tell you, it puts a lot of heat.
There you go, Steve.
They'll just put a rack in your office and use it for customer service servers. They'll put the internet. They'll pay all the bills, and the heat is being exhausted to your office. And it's interesting. Now,
I just read the story and thought that sounds interesting. The only problem is you've got to put money down to get them to install it.
what do you mean?
You have to pay for them to come and install
Well,
it.
they
and then
said that
reap the-
for
reap
a
the costs.
it says for a flat installation fee. I wonder what it is.
It's not particularly cheap. But
Okay.
I did read the story and I looked at it and thought, well, that sounds like a good idea if you've got the space. But
Right.
yeah, not the sort of thing that they would have enough internet bandwidth for the average home, would it? I mean, for business possibly, but not for an average home, unless you're on fiber.
No, but they bring their own internet in there.
Oh, that's awesome. If they're going to pay for my internet too. I think it's that they're only paying for the electric that they use, so they probably put their own meter in, I would have thought.
Well, I'm under the impression that they bring their own.
Yeah, that's
The
what the
company
article
will install a
says.
rack of server with its own power and internet connection. So it's not involving your power or your internet connection. Now, you may be able to buy internet service from them at that point, but I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting situation, and the reason why this story sort of like jumped up is because this last summer, you remember I was showing everybody how the exhaust pipe that I put on the fan of the server here, of the machine, the computer here, that blows a lot of heat, to blow it outside. Well, yesterday it was kind of chilly in here, and I said, geez, let's see. So I pulled the hose off the back of the fan and I hung it up above. So it blows the heat into the room. And this morning I came in here and it was pretty nice. No need for heat. And that's after reading this, I said, yeah, I'm going to do that and see. Sure enough. She
Toasty
worked.
warm.
They what?
Toasty warm.
Toasty. Our numbers 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And again, if you're watching us or just listening to us and not logged into the chat, please log into the chat. Just put a name in there, put a handle, and come in and see what you're missing. What else is going on?
What do you think about net neutrality?
What do I think about net neutrality? I mean, not being in the thick of things, you hear one side saying that it's a good thing and another side saying, no, that's not what you think. But I guess we don't need to worry about it because the president is going to do some type of executive order now to either force it or not, right?
Hey, he does them for everything else, so why not
Yeah.
this?
Well, I was told that when I made a comment about it in a particular chat room, a couple of guys chose to pile on me and say that that he doesn't have that authority. Here you guys go again talking about what all he's going to do, and in fact, he doesn't have the legal authority to do it. And I didn't respond to it. But what the dummy doesn't realize is net neutrality, quote unquote, means that the internet is managed as a utility by the Federal Communications Commission. The head of the FCC reports directly to whom?
Right.
The president?
There you go.
I'm so smart.
There you go. You're an expert.
Yeah,
So
it's
we'll
it's
It's
The
just
good
going to be
news is
another wire connected to his kill switch.
It can be undone. Not that anybody cares. Most of this crap never gets undone, but we'll see.
yeah, and Jerry Lee Lewis is saying that AT&T has stopped laying fiber.
No, that's not quite correct.
Well,
They
they
have threatened to stop laying fiber. There's a discussion that that's just posturing, and that may be the case. But it's going to be interesting to see how they proceed. They claimed that they were not going to continue with their build-out plans in 100 cities.
the story that I got here and others that I read there, it says AT&T says it will halt its investment on broadband internet service expansion until the federal rules on open internet are clarified. We can't go out and just invest that kind of money deploying fiber to 100 cities other than these 2 million covered by the DirecTV deal, not knowing under what rules that investment will be governed. AT&T Chief Randall Stevenson says during an appearance on a Wells Fargo conference, according to transcript provided by AT&T. And so we have to pause and we have to just put a stop on those kind of investment that we're doing today. It seems like they're talking about rolling it to new areas, but the areas where it's already there, they'll be stupid not to roll it out to the customer, because if they already laid everything down, they should make money from it, not just let it sit there. But if they have to go to a new city and lay fiber all over, I can see why they would say that they're going to wait and see what the outcome is going to be.
Just like big kids, aren't they? If you don't do what we want, then we're taking our ball and going home.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, you have to
I like
to
the
think.
FCC's response.
The
It's
what?
basically calling their FCC's response is basically calling their bluff and saying, right, I want you to list the 100 cities that you were going to go into, not just the up to 100, list the 100 and list what infrastructure plans that you have that you were going to go ahead with and why this has made a change. So he's basically calling their bluff.
Well,
Good for them.
A couple of comments in chat. Jerry Lee Lewis is saying it's not stupid to quit hooking up fiber if AT&T isn't making money on it. Well, yes and no. It depends on what the long-term plan is. Many times when you go into a new market, you lose money up front for the benefit of the long-term payout. I have zero information in terms of the economics of these build-outs and things. If I would argue that AT&T can pull back all they want, that's just going to make it less of a problem for their competitors to come in and take advantage of the situation. If it shuts down all the internet providers, then we get the government we vote for. We didn't, but as a country, we voted for this crap, and we're going to have to live with it. That's just the way this system works. By the way, one of our buddies, we're talking also about the fine that AT&T got, or the ruling from the FCC, or whatever happened. I don't remember the story now. But the FCC has jumped all over AT&T for throttling its unlimited data customers on wireless, saying that it's misrepresentation and breach of the contract to throttle their unlimited customers when they reach 2 gigabytes or whatever the number is. So Tony is saying that he is hopeful that they will stop throttling at 2 gigabytes or whatever the data plan is. one of our buddies has Verizon. He had a 3 gigabyte data plan on his phone. He got an email last week that they had doubled it to 6 gigabytes for no additional money.
Where is he?
Idaho.
Oh,
Supposedly, if you contact Verizon, they will bump you up.
you know, always think about if you call them, they will bump you up, or if you take a competitor price, they will match it. You know, why not just do it to begin with? I mean, we have Spence here that goes when he has the time and looks through the specials and tells us what it is. What does it take for these big stores to go through and see what their competitors are doing and do the same thing? Why do you have to say, okay, you bring in their coupon or you bring in their ad and we will match the price? No, thank you. I'll go to store A before I'll come to you and let you do it. And talking about matching prices, where was it?
You're talking about the Amazon story.
Yeah. Well, not the Walmart story
Well,
Walmart.
that
Amazon,
involves Amazon.
What about it? Because 2 or 3 years ago, I was going to buy something from Amazon, and Walmart had it for just a few dollars more. And I asked Walmart, do you do any price matching? And they very, very bluntly told me absolutely not. And I said, okie dokie, and I went and bought it off Amazon.
Well, the holiday buying season is upon us, which means companies will go above and beyond to get you to spend your money with them. Walmart is leading the early charge as a major discount department store chain. On Thursday, announced a price matching policy for the holidays. Through the holidays, Walmart will match the online prices of rivals, including Amazon and Target.
But I agree with what you're saying. Let's suppose that I'm going to go buy a digital camera.
Yeah.
It's $109 at Target. It's $119 at Walmart. Why would I buy it from Walmart?
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
If Target has already put their better foot forward and offered it for a discounted price,
Absolutely.
then go back to Target and reward them for their markdown.
That's the point. Exactly.
And I would drive back over there to get it. I might lose money, but that's one of those things at principle that nobody but us old guys cares about. But to me, if you have to reward the behavior. If you're going to criticize bad behavior, you need to reward good behavior. If they're going to put their better foot forward and give you a better deal, then be done with it.
Exactly.
Good Sunday morning.
Good.
Over here, if you went into a shop and asked for a price match, they would never price match with an online store because they don't have the overheads to compete with. But so many people would go in, look at the device, you know, get a feel and touch and everything else, and then go and buy it online. So, you know, they need to compete with that kind of attitude from the customers as well, and they have to do that.
And you know, Steve, this is what we hear all the time. The online stores don't have the brick and mortar overhead, but their inventory. One of the best ways to kill a business is to have too much inventory.
Yeah.
And if Amazon is to be believed, they've never made a profit, and one of the reasons is because of all the money they have tied up in inventory.
Yes, what's out there in the warehouse isn't moving, and they've got to estimate what is going to sell and what isn't going to sell, and they're going to make mistakes.
But look, they're still controlling the world in terms of
Yeah.
online buying. Even if they aren't what they say making a profit or making any money.
But let's think about that just a second. I used to buy a lot from Newegg.
I bought from Newegg for a while too.
Why have you cut back?
I don't want to pay I don't pay for their shipping. I don't like their shipping.
Bingo.
The one thing that's nice about Newegg, and Actually, it's equal distance for both of us, but their main shipping center is in New Jersey. So, if with me at least, if I order something from Newegg, I have it in 2 days with the regular shipping. So that's a plus, but it's one of the reasons I don't order from Newegg. I will not order anything unless it's off of Amazon.
Except
Or
for one thing.
what?
The new egg might take a day or 2 or 3 to even bother to ship it.
Correct. Their processing or whatever they call it is a bunch of bogus.
But
They
if
take
they're
forever to
making
do it.
And there's another benefit to buying from Newegg. If you ever decide to buy a hard drive from them,
Mm-hmm.
they've already thrown it off the roof to make sure that it doesn't disintegrate when it hits concrete.
Alrighty, good to know.
Nick,
So-
I just bought something from Newegg. First time.
Okay. All right.
I wanted to buy a new AverMedia card
Okay, and why'd you buy from Newegg?
because they had an open box for 40
Ah.
some dollars.
Oh, that's not a bad deal.
And it was brand new. I mean, it was still the round sticker was still on it. I don't know why they called it open box. But I went ahead and got it.
Oh, there you go. You made out good on a deal.
Yeah, so sometimes, you go and you look and you weigh your options and you weigh the charges and you say, well, yeah, that's a good deal from here.
But
But-
no, I mean, I pay for Amazon Prime for a reason.
Right. And again, I mean, it all depends how much you use that Amazon Prime. If
I
you-
use it. I feel like I use it enough, and I think that's it.
Yeah, okay, so that's okay. But if you order once a month and you think about it, then you're paying what now, $100 for Prime?
Yeah, but
Then-
but now there's a lot of other features of Prime that people are not aware of now. With Prime, you get a free Kindle book a month. You get free music streaming. You get free what did they just roll out? Free
Photo
backup,
storage.
free photo storage. I mean, free Amazon Prime Video. $100 is a lot for shipping. But with everything else that's on there, I mean, I use the music exclusively on my phone now.
I don't.
Right. No,
Exclusively.
It used to be 69, but unfortunately we were sharing an account and that changed. And so when I had to sign up again for mine, I did not get the discounted rate.
No.
So
Well, it's up to $100 for everybody now, isn't it?
as far as I know, that the people are still grandfathered at 69.
No, I thought they
No,
bumped
no.
up my price.
if you're going to
I'm a-
renew, it's going up. Nobody's grandfathered.
No, I didn't think anybody was.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, we all got screwed. It wasn't just you.
Whenever they started that program, they took a big risk not knowing how it was going to work out. And we read here, I think a year ago, that it said that it was the biggest money maker in the company.
Prime.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, now I guarantee you it's making even more. I guarantee you it's making less money now, even though they've raised the price because of all the new stuff they're offering with it.
So time will tell. And if they make it much higher, I doubt if it went over 99, I doubt I'd get it. I started not to get it at 99. The only reason I did get it is because I was binge watching Netflix and I wanted to see what was on Amazon Instant Video. And I will tell you that everything I have looked up on Amazon Instant Video had to be purchased. None of it was streamed as part of my account.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
I don't know what's on there. I mean, I guess maybe you can do a search for what's included and
Yeah.
find something to
There's a
watch.
search for Amazon Prime stuff that's on there. Here, let me go look right now.
Well, like Jerry Lee Lewis says that the Newegg has Premiere.
Yeah, but no, who the hell?
I know. I know.
Newegg's only computer parts, so
Yeah.
it's like with Amazon, I order everything off
Right.
Amazon.
And it's not like, I mean, if you're going to start paying 100 to Amazon, 50 for Newegg, just because they may have something every now and then that's cheaper. I mean, it's not economical to do it that way.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, Mike,
Yes.
if you go to or search for Amazon Prime Instant Video or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right on the right in the top bar, there's two options. There's Prime Instant Video or Shop Instant Video. So if you go into the Prime Instant Video, there's Prime movies and Prime TV shows, and everything under those categories are. But the one thing that Amazon does that Netflix seems to have a hard time with is Amazon gets current shows. And that's a problem with Netflix, is normally you don't get the shows till after the season's over. Or normally it's actually until the next season starts.
Well, and there's also something really funky going on there too, because you look into a show we wanted to watch. We started we've been watching. Let me go way back. We've been a fan of James Spader since The Practice.
Okay.
Well, from there we watched him on Boston Legal until they became so radically left wing out of that show. We stopped watching it in the 5th season. He then is now the star. In fact, the show is built around him on The Blacklist, which, as far as I'm concerned, he's not doing a very good job. But I wanted my daughter and son-in-law to see how good of an actor he was when he was on Boston Legal. I then started looking around, trying to find shows, which this is another point too, is trying to find shows that they could get an example. So we picked one where we thought he would go into the courtroom and do his blitzkrieg delivery in the courtroom, which it turns out that he has terrible vision, and a lot of these actors and actresses, when they're on camera, they're actually monitoring the cue cards to remind them what their lines are. And because his vision is so bad, he can't see the cue cards. Whenever you see him on Boston Legal do these really wild, rapid pace, knock 'em out deliveries, it's all from memory. He would actually sit in his apartment on Sundays for hours rehearsing his lines to make sure he had them memorized, which is one of the reasons he was such a good actor. It was all in his head, coming out of him as if he were actually living the part. But then, be that as it may, the only thing that we could find other than season 5, which is the horrible season, everything was anti-Bush this, anti-Bush that, and that was on YouTube. We started watching it, and what we found on YouTube is whoever uploaded it, they have sort of letterboxed it. They've put these bars all the way around it, such that this really funky looking picture, you can hardly see what the picture's about. And they have changed the pitch of the voices. The women sound like men. And we tried to figure out what was going on and realized that what they're probably trying to do is to get around the scanners at YouTube so they don't get the episodes pulled.
Yep. Probably.
Well, who would want to watch that? I mean, that's ridiculous. We thought about buying the entire 5-season series from Amazon, but it was over $100, and I don't want to watch it that badly.
There's other ways to get it.
Oh, I know. I mean, seasons 1, 2, and 3, just extraordinary. I mean, I was never a Shatner fan, and my daughter, when we first started watching it, she kind of rolled her eyes, turned her nose up at it. And before the show was over, she was just rolling on the floor laughing at Shatner. It was a good show. I hate that they became they revealed their leftist tendencies.
I just found out something about Hangouts here. When I don't want to send the return video or whatever you call it to everybody because it takes a lot of resources. So I set up Google, Hangouts to have a camera that doesn't exist. Well, that doesn't really mean anything, apparently. It was running at about 90%. And I was trying to figure out why it was doing it. And finally, I looked over there and I saw that my picture down there was black. And I said, So I went and I actually killed the camera above it. And right away, it went down to about 60. So if you're using I don't know that anybody else would need that to know this, but it's interesting that if it's not if it's a camera that doesn't exist, it's still a camera and it's still sending that stuff. But if you click, there it is, right there. The camera is now muted, so to speak.
Hmm.
That does it.
That's weird because when I came in on this one today, I haven't used it before on Hangouts. It's got a capture card in it for the TV capture card,
Mm-hmm.
and it recognised that as being the camera. And I went, no, I don't want that as the camera. But there's no option. There's no like a
Right.
choose none.
Yes,
You-
there
it-
is.
you-
I
No,
didn't
there
see
isn't.
none.
Well, there's no choose none. You just turn it off.
Well, I can't, can I? Because it's a card inside the
No,
computer.
no. You turn they turn the video off inside the Hangout.
Yeah, you
Oh, it is.
click on the camera.
Okay. It's the thing is when it came in to set up, it tried to set up automatically.
Oh yeah, it always tries to find a
The
camera. I mean,
ATR
it's,
2100, but the device it didn't have a choice to say no, don't use this device. It was there, or this is the only thing I found,
yeah.
and I thought, well, I don't want to use it. But as it happens, it's put a line through it anyway automatically.
Yeah.
But you would think that there would be a don't use this device selection.
It's down to 40%, 40 some percent. It's amazing.
Quite remarkable.
Let's see. Remember there was you guys were talking about going from iPhone to something else, something about iMessage would not work, or you couldn't get the iMessage to work between, or something like that.
iMessage only works on iPhones.
Right. Well, the article goes, when moving from an iPhone to something else, if you are an avid user of iMessage, you may find your messages missing, especially from iOS using Friends. Indeed, it has been such a problem that there are even lawsuits about it. While Apple has maintained that users can always switch off iMessage, that only works if you still have your iOS device. Unless one also has other iOS devices or a Mac, they may not even realize their friends have been sending messages that are queued up on Apple services via iMessage. Well, that problem has been resolved with Apple creating a deregistration utility to remove your phone number from the iMessage servers, so friends will no longer send you text via iMessage that you can no longer receive.
Get
It's
a
a-
Mac.
It's a two-step process involving proof of number ownership via regular SMS before deregistration takes place. But you can actually deregister yourself from Apple, and then everything will work. I remember, Nick, you and Andrew were talking about this.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it
thank
was-
God Apple finally
Yeah.
was able to write some service to do that. I'm sure it took them a very long time to write an application that would
Well-
delete a phone number from a database.
You have to understand, Apple does not ever envision anyone leaving their ecosystem.
I mean, honestly, is this really a story? I mean, people have had the kind of crap you have to do. Do you know what you used to have to do to get rid of iMessage? Used to have to delete the contact on your phone. Then, so if I had an iPhone and I was texting or iMessaging Mike, and then I switched to Android, Mike would have to delete my contact. I would have to delete his contact. I would have to text him back first and hope that it showed up as an SMS.
Well,
And there's like a 50-50 chance it didn't.
And this is what we call a first world problem.
It's just I'm glad they were able to finally write the database, a little thing that would delete the number from the database. They're true visionaries there.
and Apple is not junk. I mean, Apple is Apple.
No, nobody
Yeah.
said Apple's junk, and that's
Yeah,
not.
somebody's
That's
saying there
that's
that
Gary.
Joey's saying Apple is junk. And no.
That's
no,
Gary.
Apple is not junk. It's just they do stuff that every time I have to go look at a new phone, it makes me not want to be part of what they're doing.
I still have an iPhone 4.
I'm needing a new phone, and there are just specific reasons that I will not buy an iPhone.
Nick, I don't know if I can go through you having to get a new phone again.
Why?
It was so stressful last time.
I don't think I knew you when I got my phone.
You did so. You bought the one that was stolen, and the guy gave
Oh,
you
yeah.
back, and
No,
then
no,
you
that
got-
wasn't the new phone. That was the one after I broke the phone.
And then you got one, and it got wet, and
Yeah, it ruined it. Uh-huh. That was the replacement phone after it was
Whatever.
cracked,
I'm so glad I don't have all these problems.
which was not my fault, by the way.
did you know you can still Amnon? Did
Yeah.
you know you can still get a flip phone?
A lot of people are using them.
They're free.
No, they're not. They were 99 cents.
Oh, yeah. Forgot 99 cents. Both my grandparents still have, just actually got new flip phones from TrackPhone or whatever.
You can get them from AT&T.
It works for them.
I think there was a manufacturer, it was either Samsung or LG, that brought out a flip phone specifically designed for elderly people.
Lee Brown still has an iPhone 3G, not even the 3GS, just the 3G, and it's still working great.
I've got a 3GS,
Oh, Lee, update yourself. What's the matter with you?
but I don't have a SIM card that works for it.
Yeah. Well, he's in the UK. They are saving their money on phones to pay for healthcare.
Or they get it through the healthcare.
By the way, does anyone here use Image Burn?
Yes. Image Burn, IMG Burn, or whatever it's called.
Yep.
Mhm.
Are you aware that the guy has sort of shot himself in the foot because he is now packaging Open Candy malware with the package so he can get
Oh,
paid, make some money off of it?
I was not aware.
And if you're not careful, there are two ways to get around it, sort of which are acknowledged. He's really creative. He may walk away from the project because of all the heat he's taken over it. He has thumbed his nose at the people who have complained about it. But there are, in fact, two ways around it. One is that whenever you download the executable from the website, which is now over a year old, when you download the executable, you drop down to a command prompt, go to the executable, type in the name, set up img burn _ 20102 or whatever it is, space, / no candy. Don't know if it has to be caps, but put it in caps, no candy, and it'll completely ignore the Open Candy crap in there. The second thing that you can do, which has really, really aggravated people, is that when you start the installation by double clicking on the setup file, you will see certain opt-in, opt-out menu selections. One is, do you agree to install Open Candy? And no is grayed out.
Great.
You can still click on it. There are two places where you have to click no, and then it will install without installing Open Candy. The guy's excuse is that if you install it and install Open Candy, and if you don't want it, it's a simple matter to hit add remove and take it out, and it's a clean uninstall, which I think is disgusting.
Yeah.
But Image Burn is a fabulous program. It's unfortunate.
Have you donated?
I have not.
Well, and neither have I. And this is part of my fault that he isn't now
agree.
packaging this.
I agree.
This is our fault being users and not supporting the developer.
I totally agree, and I often support these shareware people.
As
But
have I a few times.
I had no idea that he was looking for money. I didn't see a please contribute here thing, and I have not contributed to him.
The problem with the software is you install it when you get the computer, and then you don't. You never install it again. You don't update it really. There's no need to update it. So
Sure
you
there is.
well, I've never updated my versions.
What version do you have?
I have no clue. I use it so infrequently.
Yeah, but it works amazingly well. It does a fabulous job.
I like it much better than what's the other one, Damien Tools or whatever.
Damon Tools.
Image
I don't remember the last time I burnt a disc. It was
Yep.
probably beginning of last year, I would have thought.
Yep. But
What's the software actually called?
IMGBURN.
Is that the full name of it? Oh yeah, there it is.
I have used it in the past.
I never heard of it.
It was very efficient, very small, very minuscule in size, and it did the job well.
It's an excellent program.
But don't use it now.
But I also have for years used a program called DVD Fab.
Okay.
A ripping program, which you can use for legitimate things. You don't have to use it. In fact, the current versions don't even have the copyright removal stuff in it. So I'm using it legally, but they have jacked their prices up to the point that if you wanted to get lifetime licenses to all of their programs, I figured it up yesterday with a 20% discount. It's about $224. I'm not going to pay that. I mean, there's one program I'd like to have for a convenience, but I don't have to have it. I mean, like you're saying, how many discs do we really burn anymore? But
Not a whole lot.
They're very convenient. This business about ripping from this disc, for example, it's the same process. I have these very large files of my son's wedding that I want to put on a DVD, not a Blu-ray. By the way, I bought a Blu-ray burner and a stack of Blu-ray blanks.
Sweet.
I haven't burned it yet. I'm going to burn one today. But anyway, I want to be able to take the big file and to bring it down to the size appropriate for a 4.7 DVD. And DVD Fab has things built in where it automatically knows the numbers. You select which disc, and it does everything, and it does a good job. But they've priced themselves out of my market.
It's a problem.
Well, if it's working for them, more power to them.
Yeah. The thing we got to remember, and everybody should do this, if you really use an application and it's a free application, throw the developer $20. Throw the developer $5. Throw the developer $10.
Well, I'll tell you, I agree if they're interactive. I don't follow people on Twitter if they're verified, and people who are not, who hide their email addresses and things, I don't donate to them. They're big time. They don't need me. But I'm interacting, for example, with, well, speaking of which, there is you guys listening who do podcasts and who want to play around with this stuff, I would like to ask for you to do me a favor and check out a site called Churbit, Chirbit, Churbit.com. Churbit is a place like a SoundCloud, like a Libsyn, whatever, without the statistics and all, where you can upload your audio files up to 2 hours in length. You can have a 120 megabyte file that you can upload an unlimited number of 120 megabyte files for free. The disadvantage is there's no RSS feed, so you can't use them for your podcast. You can't replace Libsyn with them yet, although I have learned that they are releasing or have a pro account for $30 a year that provides an iTunes-friendly RSS feed to each episode. It also includes some statistics. Now, is $30 a year a good price? I don't know. It's $5 a month for the cheapest Libsyn account. It's $15 for the standard account. But they have limits. If you're wanting to move your entire library over to a new server and not worry about the limits, Churbit may be a way to go. And I'm communicating with the guy who wrote the program. He seems to be a good guy. Well, I don't know yet. It's a little early. Don't know about their funding. Don't know how long they're going to be there. I don't want you to go out and load up everything there and make them your only source and then find out the guy is going to drop the program. But he seems to be working on it. The site looks good. things looking good. So we'll see how it goes. But he's got several pro plans, one being $30 a year is going to have RSS feeds. And I'll probably sign up for that because I do some, I do, for example, Tom Joyner does a commentary each week, a radio commentary on a radio station, and I record that and clean it up and upload it to the web for him. And I've been using SoundCloud, but I have to delete every week when I upload one. I have to delete one because he doesn't have that much space, and really the older shows don't maintain their currency very long anyway because they're very topical commentaries. But it would be nice not to have to go back and delete them, or at least delete them a couple, 3 times a year instead of having to make sure I do it every week and not run over the upload limit.
Mm-hmm.
Chirbit, CHIRBIT.com.
Sherbert.
Chirbit.
Sherbert.
Not Sherbert. Chirbit. Orange Chirbit.
Yeah.
Sherbet we're having? What is
Sherbet.
it? You're making sherbet tonight, Mike?
Sherbet.
Shoibet. It's Shoibet. Let's see. The Mozilla project has made 2 announcements that should make hardcore Firefox users very happy.
I didn't know there were any left.
The first is that multi-process support is landing in Firefox nightly. And the second is that 64-bit Firefox is finally coming to Windows.
Woohoo.
The features are a big deal on their own, but together they show Mozilla's commitment to the desktop version of Firefox as they both improve performance and security. I just had to look over there and see, am I using Firefox or Chrome today for the Hangout? I'm using Firefox. The news is part of a slew of unveilings from the company on the browser's 10th anniversary, including new Firefox features and the debut of Firefox Developer Edition. It's again, you know, what Nick is saying there, what he said, Jerry Lee Lewis, yeah, you like it, I like it, I use both.
It was a joke.
It's yeah, it's
Yeah.
not and people do have their own preference many times, and there's nothing wrong with that. If one works for you and the other one doesn't, it's fine.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that one is better than the other. I mean, like we said here before, I have a problem with Chrome on this machine here for the Hangouts for the show, for the fact that it will just disconnect suddenly. We don't know why. It works okay in Firefox, but on my machine I use Chrome all the time. So,
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of people using AdBlock. I really think something like that
I'm
should
not a
be.
big fan of all the crap that they throw into my browser.
I agree. But at one point being a content creator, AdBlock is really screwing you.
California is about to get a present there.
Is it going to snow?
After a 2.5-year ocean journey, radioactive contamination from the Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan has drifted to within 160 kilometers of California coast, according to a new study. But the radiation levels are minuscule and do not pose a threat, researchers say. The team found a high of just 8 becquerels, whatever. I mean, I guess that's of radiation. That's the I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's the level that they measure per cubic meter in ocean samples off the coast. U.S. Environmental Protection Agency guidelines for drinking water allows up to 7,400 per cubic meter, and they just found 8 per cubic meter. So I guess the EPA also includes some of that stupid virus in there that is okay for us to get.
Now, Amnon, why do you hate the environment?
Hey, Amnon, what's your problem?
Do I hate the environment?
Of
You
course
just
you
said, yeah, you just said you did.
Why? How did I say that?
because you're talking about being stupid because people don't want to drink radioactive water.
No, I didn't say that. I said that the EPA is
I
telling
know
us that it's okay.
Amnon, that's what's called sarcasm.
Yeah. And the stupid is going in there too. You know, I can't go back. I cannot go back to it, but it, you know, when, how many people, I mean, it's almost the end of the show. How many people out there, really, the people, your average person, the people who are not in government, how many of them had anything to do with Obamacare passing? Mike?
How many what got had
How
to do
many
with
American people, other than the people in Congress, had to do with Obamacare passing?
about 51% of the people who voted in 2008 caused it.
But wait a second. I understand that, but in reality, I mean,
Yeah,
how-
well, in reality, if they hadn't voted the way they did, it wouldn't be here.
but when it was done, how many people were involved in passing it?
One,
Who? No.
John Roberts.
Well, no, I was thinking more about
I know
about
what you're
Congress.
thinking. I know what you're thinking.
And really, the Democrats passed it, and the Republicans didn't. Or there
Yeah.
was one, right?
Nope.
I thought there was one Republican that were making a
Nope.
big deal. Oh,
Nope.
was it the other way around? That one Democrat did not go with it.
I don't think that's right.
Some-
I believe it was
some woman,
full
I thought.
split.
I don't remember. Anyway, so I don't know how this Gruber guy or whoever can say that the American people are stupid. Now, do you know where I'm going?
Look, this guy. Listen, here's this guy Gruber.
That's it,
who
Dr.
called
John.
other
60
people
senators.
stupid, and he's sitting there committing suicide.
Well, I mean, I love that uh, video of Pelosi saying back then, "Did you guys see what this Mr. John Gruber from MIT, his analysis and all blah blah blah?" And then this time, I don't know who he is. He never helped us with anything with writing the bill or.
He wrote Obamacare.
Oh.
And you know what's so interesting about it is that if you people like Nick like to dog on Fox News,
Yep.
and if you don't watch Fox News, you don't even know about Gruber. The
I
major
know,
networks
and you know,
have spiked the story.
you know was funny. Yesterday morning, I was watching Fox, and they were talking about how the other networks are covering it, and they said CBS 0, NBC 0, and when he said 0, and he added a comment said they're probably covering Kim Kardashian about something.
Yeah, they put that.
And you know that and I told Kathy about it in the morning, and then in the afternoon we're watching, and I just flipped through, and there was nothing interesting on Fox. So you go one up, and it's NBC, and here they are talking about Kim Kardashian.
There you go.
It's
Oh,
really
it's a sad
interesting
time.
that they are not covering this, and this is really, really, really important.
No, it's not important. It's really not. I mean, what
You-
is it that the story becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and that this guy is sitting there talking about that how Obamacare is based on the stupidity of the American people, not and that they don't know any better, and yet he's comfortable enough saying all that because he knows that people are too stupid to pay attention to what he's saying.
Yeah, but like they were talking there, they were saying that if this was an American corporation that was pulling that trick and was lying to their employees in order to pass something or to do something like that, I mean, something similar, they would be under investigation up and down, and they will have to appear in front of, I mean, imagine GM or Ford is doing something like this and telling people something and really misleading them. They would be in front of Congress. Here, nobody's doing anything.
Yeah, see, the problem is that Richard Nixon resigned over lying about a third-rate
Right.
burglary.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I wonder what's going to happen when the Republicans are getting in. What would happen to Obamacare? I understand there's no way to do away with it, but I wonder what it's going to do to the price of the average person for the premiums.
We'll have to wait till it kicks in and see.
I know.
Hope for the best.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened to spam. I mean, to spams. No email. I would need to call him and
Yes.
find out.
Yeah, well, find out. I'd be interested. We can save the video stuff until, like Dr. John says, not everything
Absolutely.
about Obamacare is bad. It's the 2% that's giving the other 98% a bad reputation.
Well, I don't know that it's the 2% that gives the other. I think
That was a
there's
joke, Amnon.
what?
That was a joke, Amnon.
That was a joke. I mean, it's not all bad. I mean, the idea is a good idea. The ideology behind it, that people should have affordable, but don't take it from me to give it to him. Come up with a way to do it that will support itself without punishing some people.
I'm following another thread on another board, and it's a lady posted in there, and this could be kind of touchy. So guys, don't hear what you think I'm saying. Hear what I'm saying, because I'm easy on this kind of stuff. And a lady posted a link that the Pope has decided that while the homeless do not go hungry in Rome, staying clean is more complicated. So now the Pope has ordered that showers for the homeless be erected in Rome. Next comment says, seriously, how can people not like this guy? I'll be the first to admit that I'm not overly religious, even though I was raised Catholic. I have been more going back to the real roots of helping others in the relatively short time Francis has been Pope than in the previous two pontificates. A lot of people should try to be more like him and not all up on their high horses about issues. Someone says, wonderful. From the article, it looks like Pope Francis's example and at least some funding from Andre Bocelli. Stories like this give a person hope for humanity. And then someone says, it was really neat to see that the bishop still goes by father to a lot of people. The entire story is so heartwarming. Next person. He is certainly a very special person, the people's pope. He genuinely cares about people. Next one. He's definitely the first pope I've ever had any respect for. Not that it matters since I'm not Catholic. Next one. I love him so. What an amazing, loving person he is. He is the saving grace of the Catholic Church. Next one. He is certainly breathing new life into the Catholic Church. Well, okay, that's good. I'm all for that, not criticizing any of that. But it's pretty hard for me to sit back and look at this guy who has adamantly advocated for redistribution of wealth when the Catholic Church is one of the richest organizations in the world. Whenever the Catholic Church takes itself down to poverty, then they can go out and tell the rest of the world that they should do the same thing. Until then, I ain't buying.
No, but I mean, look, being Jewish, I still look at him and I see he's doing good stuff.
Absolutely.
He's trying, and he deserves 100% of the credit.
For the good stuff and the bad stuff.
Are there better ways to do it? Are there more things to be done? Oh, absolutely. Tim, there's nothing wrong if you are for it. That's fine. That's where you are. But look at what Gene is saying there. Where's the difference between the $57 and the $300? That should come from, and I don't pretend to have solutions, but I think that the private sector, private investment, things like that could probably help pay for others instead of, if it's supposed to cost me $200 a month, that you come and you take $600 and you give it to somebody, and you give somebody else who can't afford it something, a policy. That's where the problem lies.
See, Jerry Lee's looking at the $57 a month. He's a single person.
Yeah.
He's convinced that's a good thing. Well, he must be healthy, because if he gets cancer, none
forbid.
of the major cancer centers in this country accepts Obamacare. He can't go to Sloan Kettering or any of the major cancer institutes in this country, and but that's okay. He's saving money.
Well, right now he is.
No, but once it slaps him in the face, it's too late.
Right, I know, and that's the sad thing. And at that point, when it does slap you on the face, there's nothing you can do. While if you do something right now to correct the problem and make it sustainable, then it will not slap you on the face. Of course, it's going to cost you a little more. I mean, come on. When 57, I remember paying $60 a month back when, sheesh, I think it was in the late 70s, early 80s, being healthy. You know, that's fine. But before I went on Medicare, it was almost $650. So there's something got to give there. You can't expect to keep on going at $57 a month. That's really not, in my opinion, $60, $100 a month for somebody to have life insurance. Think about how much you're paying for your car if you have full insurance, which here you have full insurance.
My insurance is, including what's paid by my employer, is, I believe, I was looking at it last week, I believe it is $900 a month.
I mean, it's a bunch of money, and you don't complain about that. You expect it because, okay.
Oh, I complain about it, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, okay, I shouldn't say you're not complaining about it, but you're not making a big deal out of it. You're paying it.
No,
because you know that if something happens to your car, you'll be taken care of. Well, it's your body. It's your health.
Yeah. I realize people need health care. I'm very sensitive to health issues. To me, the pre-existing condition exemption that insurance companies were allowed to maintain for years, that's the one good thing that I agree with about Obamacare, that people can now get insurance.
Right.
But even then, it's misleading, because it doesn't say you can get insurance for the same price that someone without the pre-existing condition can have. It just says that they have to write the policy.
Yeah.
And whereas that's good, and I'm sensitive to it, it's somebody's still going to have to pay for it. Did you know that 50% of all medical costs are consumed in the last year of a person's life? And that is, of all the medical costs, 50% of the medical costs in this country are spent keeping someone alive for a year.
Mm.
And I will tell you that I have a friend who's a doctor who says it's time to let these people go early. And that's what Obamacare is going to do. It's a business part of medicine. That's what socialized medicine does. It says we can't afford it. Go ahead and call hospice. And I'm not saying that's all bad.
Yeah. No.
I'm not saying that I totally disagree with that, but I guess the problem that I have a problem, the part that I have a problem with, is the government making that decision instead of Amnon making that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to get worse. I mean, we really didn't want to get off on a big political thing, but the fact is that if you're in the United States, you're going to be impacted by Obamacare, and all we can do is report what we've studied, heard, listened, and believed. And hopefully, you know what? I said that a certain candidate would never get elected, and I was wrong. I'm glad I was wrong. He won. Not going to change anything, but I'm glad he won. I hope I'm wrong about Obamacare. Because I've got 3 kids who are impacted by it, and I'll be impacted. Everybody hearing, everyone within the sound of my voice will be impacted by it, unless you're outside the country. Even if you're in Canada, you're going to get some of the ripple effect, because many people, even Movie Buff was talking about how free healthcare in Canada is a wonderful thing. Well, except maybe you might not be aware of how many people leave Canada to come to the United States and purchase health care out of their pockets because they can't get it in time in Canada. How long do you think it takes to get an MRI in Canada? In the United States, if it's needed immediately, you get it. If it's not needed immediately, you can have one in less than a week.
Yep.
In Canada, I mean, at one point in the UK, it took 13 months to get for a pregnant woman to get a doctor with an appointment with an OB/GYN.
Sort of like the VA.
Well, there you go. I mean, the VA with the compassion of the Postal Service and the IRS.
And talking about the VA, guys, last Wednesday we had a great show on the Lessons of Vietnam. And I don't know how many of you are maybe Vietnam vets or children of Vietnam vets or spouses of Vietnam vets, but apparently the VA is taking care of not just the vets themselves when it comes to Agent Orange, but their kids or their wives that could have gotten that impacted by it. So just, I mean, go ahead and you can go to the Lessons of Vietnam and listen to last show from last Wednesday. It is full of information about what to do. And the president of the organization said that the main problem is people are not applying because they don't know that help exists.
There's another part of that too, though, Amnon.
Yeah.
In that sounds great, and these guys, I'm sure they know what they're talking about. But I will tell you that it is not a walk in the park to
No.
automatically get a diagnosis that your symptoms are a
Right.
result of
No,
Agent Orange
and
by
he
your
said-
grandfather.
He said that.
Yeah, I mean that's where the government gets you. If they deny it, what's your recourse?
I don't know, but I think that's why he was saying don't do it on your own. Get a service rep, somebody who is with the VA to sort of like write it up for you and represent you because they know how to do it right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
Tim is
cost money.
saying,
What?
why should it cost? Tim is saying, why should it cost thousands to get an MRI? Well, I don't know. Why is it cost $40,000 to buy a pickup truck? I don't know the answer to that. Who's ripping you off? Is it the insurance company or is it the medical provider?
And here's another thing about being stupid. Facebook is dumbing down its privacy policy so it'll be easier to understand.
Right, right. And if you believe that, you're stupid.
Oh boy.
All right, go on Netflix, watch Terms and Conditions May Apply.
Such a good show or documentary.
And then particularly if you use Facebook or if you use Gmail or any of the Google Borg services, Terms and Conditions May Apply. It's an hour and a half long. It's well worth your time.
And also watch Pandora's Promise. Is that what it's called?
Absolutely watch Pandora's Promise.
Those are the two. Pandora's Promise and Terms and Conditions May Apply. You won't regret it.
So, all right, got a lot to do, things to go, places to go, people to meet.
Something else here that's important. Last year, bipartisan coalition helped get the Main Street Fairness Act approved by the U.S. Senate. The bill would have allowed state and local governments to collect sales taxes on internet sales by companies in different jurisdictions. But House Speaker John Boehner, a longtime opponent of internet taxes, wouldn't bring the matter to a vote in the House before the end of the year, which would kill it for the immediate future. So we still have a few years to go. Hopefully. All right. Well, thanks, guys. It was fun. Steve, you've been quiet back there.
Well, you were talking about Obamacare and stuff. It was nice to listen to, and I enjoyed the conversations.
Were you sitting there? Did you mute yourself because you were laughing your head off?
I muted myself because my neighbour's beating hell out of his house and doing it up at the moment,
Oh.
so there's lots of banging going on.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Mike. Thanks,
You're welcome.
Steve. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tune in tonight at 8 o'clock for the Tanya Love Show. Tomorrow morning at 11, it's the Health In, and at 1, it's Breaking Free. See y'all.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.